I'm Ben. I am the person who got accepted into Waterloo, and this is Waterloo, so welcome here. The first thing I want to talk about is kind of how I got accepted, how I felt I got accepted, and then how it measures up to my expectations. So when I got accepted back in, April, I think, of last year, I was really excited, and Waterloo was definitely my top choice, so it was interesting to actually come here and see like how different or how similar it was to what I had hoped. When I got here, it's definitely different in some aspects, but it's also really similar in what I thought it was and what I'd hoped to, and I definitely am happy here. So I think that's interesting. One of the things that they have kind of shown us is that they kind of just throw you right into it with a lot of like your projects. They don't give you a lot of instruction, which was something that I wasn't expecting, but something that I'm kind of glad they've done. Like, they didn't teach us how to draw or design. They kind of just threw design projects at us and gave us instruction on how to improve our own ideas, which I thought was really interesting. Our first studio project, they gave us a prompt that we had to basically fill a 12 meter by 12 meter by 9 meter pavilion up with this grid that we had to connect lines and curves to make a pavilion project. And I think if they'd taught us how to make a house before this, you wouldn't have gotten like these really interesting forms and shapes that a lot of our projects kind of ended up being. And then since our following projects for studio kind of expanded on that, we ended up with this final project having like these really interesting, unique looking buildings that I don't think we would have gotten with had they just told us like, go design a house. So I think it's really cool how they teach here. They don't just teach you how to design, but they actually let you design and then teach you how to improve your own designs and kind of respond to things like sight and program and like all of that form work. They literally, like our first studio project, they just gave us like what the project had to be. Like, it had to fit a 12 by 12 by 9 meter at 1:50 scale perimeter. And then it had to basically incorporate a grid every 3 meters. And then you had to connect lines between those like vertices in the grid. But other than that, they just told us like, have at it. Do whatever you want. So you get like my project for that was very solid. Like, I had a lot of solid shapes that I built in bricks, but then there's some other projects that had like curves and it's like all just flat planes and they built a box in order. So it's like you get a lot of variety in the projects that were being made. Yeah. So for the first 3 projects, P1, P2, and P3A, we were told we had to draw by hand draft. Which was also really interesting because like our design, they kind of didn't tell us how to do it. They told us like, make a floor plan, make a section, but make an axo, but they didn't really tell us how. So one of the ways they teach here is they give desk crits, where basically they'll have one professor for every 15 students that come by your desks during like studio time, and they'll talk to you for like 15-20 minutes about just how you can improve your work. So like, for example, on this axo drawing, I originally was going to include this wall here because I wanted it to be like true to the actual model. But my professor said, no, you shouldn't do that. You should dash in your line so then you can actually see the intricate details behind. So it's really interesting kind of how they teach here. They let you kind of explore your ideas by yourself and then give you guidance on how to improve those ideas. So instead of them just telling you how to design and then you do exactly what they tell you, you're actually getting to like improve upon your own work, which is just so much more interesting than like having to like recreate something that they've told you to do. Yeah. We get about like, I would say 20 minutes every Monday, Thursday, and Friday. And then they also have on Fridays usually they'll have meetings with the TAs in the loft where they'll kind of like let us like ask questions one-on-one to the TAs or like in groups. And then every once in a while they'll have pinups in the loft as well, where you bring in your like in-progress work and the profs will kind of like cycle around and talk like, oh, this works, this doesn't work. And then just recently, actually, for our final project, which is like longer, we have about a month to work on it. At the kind of halfway point, we got an interim review where they actually brought in addition to our 6 professors, they brought in like professors and designers and stuff from like architectural firms like across Canada, and they actually like they'll crit your work as well. So you get, I think it was 30 minutes as well, with a panel of 2 or 3 professors or designers who get to like actually like look at your work and tell you like how this works or this doesn't work, and stuff like that, and give you advice and ideas. And you get to actually like you get to help present, you get to practice presenting as well, because you're not just sitting there and giving them your drawings. Like you actually have to sell them this building that you've made. So every Monday, Thursday, and Friday, we get like about 15 to 20 minutes just one-on-one with a professor like at your desk, and we cycle through the professors every 2 weeks, so you actually get time with every single professor, like all have different ideas and different things, so you're not just stuck with the same one over the whole term. You get experience with all of them. So the course load is kind of balanced between studio and then our lecture courses. So I would say it's pretty much 50-50 between, or maybe a bit more studio focused, but we have multiple courses that we're taking lectures for. So really it's more like you focus more on studio, I find. Mondays are an entire studio day. So basically from 9:30 till 5, you're in here working with your fellow students and professors like on your studio project. Tuesday morning we got off, which was nice, but then in the afternoon we have a lecture on architectural like history and stuff like that, cultural history, which is nice. Wednesday mornings we have a lecture on building construction, so like materiality and like how things are actually put together, which is what I thought architecture school would be like first coming here. Like that was the first class we had. So I came in here, I was like, wow, architecture school is exactly what I thought it was. I can name every Roman column now. And then we got to the second class of Wednesday, which is another architectural like history and culture, and it was nothing like I expected. The lecturer was awesome, but it was like completely different than what I thought it would be like coming here. And then Thursday is exactly like Monday. We have another studio day where we're working again with like fellow students and the professors to improve our own work. And then Friday is another studio day, but technically for a different class. But I find that a lot of the projects kind of link up with our main studio space. So Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays are pretty much our studio work time. There's definitely a couple people who work overnight. I don't advise it. I've never pulled an all-nighter, which is nice. There's definitely some people that do that, but in my opinion, if you're having to pull an all-nighter, like you've either done something wrong and are trying to fix it, or like you've not grasped the workload properly, because you shouldn't have to pull an all-nighter, I think. Yeah. For me, the workload it's somewhat stressful. It's kind of what I thought it would be when coming here, and I think the saving grace is that it's all interesting work. Like if I was told that I had to spend this much time every day working on like an English or a history essay that I don't care about, that would suck. I wouldn't want to be here. But since it's all like studio work, that you're actually designing your own building, you're drawing your own building, something that you're passionate about, it's something that I think is manageable. It's a lot of work, but at least it's something that you enjoy or should enjoy. So I think at Waterloo there's a big culture of work. Like I think a lot of people are kind of here working a lot of the time. Like we have set time where 9:30 till 5 on Monday, Thursday, Friday we're working in studio, but I think a big part of coming here is that like you don't just stay there during the 9:30 till 5. Like you stay after school and you come in on weekends and stuff, which is hard, but it's cool to be with a lot of people who kind of think similar. And it's not something you have to always do. Like I'm not always coming in on weekends, I'm not always staying late. But it's nice to kind of know that you have that option. You can come in and work pretty much whenever you want, like apart from class, like where you have lectures or whatever. But you can pretty much come in, like the building is open, you have a key fob that you can come and access the building pretty much 24/7, like 365, whenever you need. You can come in and you can work. There's definitely like a big sense of community. Like I don't think anyone here is like competitive, like, oh, my project's better than yours, I got a better grade than you. Like everyone is kind of in this boat together. Like we all have the same workload, we all know how hard it is. So we all want to like kind of help each other. Like there's no there's no rivalries. There's no one who's been mean to me. I've not been mean to anyone else. Like, it's all just like it's a nice sense of community, which is really nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah, there's a lot of support services that the school, like either in Cambridge here or actually on main campus at Waterloo, offers. Like if you're having a particularly hard time, for example, or if you've like had something happen in your life that you can't like get a doctor to write a note about, they actually offer a 48-hour like just grace period where you can use it once a term, and they just like any deadlines, any classes you have to go to, you just are canceled. You don't have to go to them. You can sleep in. You can do whatever you want during those 48-hour period if you need that. They also offer like a lot of support services. You can talk to pretty much any of the professors. They'll all talk to you. There's like all the staff here is really nice. You can talk about whatever you need. And there's a lot of stuff on main campus at Waterloo that since we're off campus, but we still have access to. So there's a lot of things that you can do for support. The biggest thing with the portfolio, in my opinion, is that if you can do the portfolio and get in here, then you can do the work. Like if you're able to do that portfolio, that was a lot of work for me. And like that was more work than I'm putting in here. So doing that portfolio and then like being here, like if you can get into the school, you can definitely do the work. I think like going to Port Prep and doing my portfolio definitely helped like my fine art skills when coming here. But honestly, I think that after like even just this first term of school, we're pretty much all like evenly matched. Like I didn't feel my drawing ability was very good like coming into the school, especially when looking at like some of my classmates' artwork and being really behind, but I don't think it's something that like hinders me like when I'm working. I think that I still do well, and I think everyone here is kind of on the same level now that we've all come here. Yeah. So one of kind of the advantages and the drawbacks is that you're in Cambridge, Ontario. Like, where even is that? Where is Cambridge? No one's ever heard of it. I hadn't heard of it until like I actually started like looking into Waterloo. So it is a drawback that you're not on main campus with everyone else. Like, especially like I have friends that go to main campus Waterloo, and I wasn't able to like room with them. I wasn't able to find housing. I can't visit them as often as I want. They can't visit me as often as they want. But you also get this advantage because you're on such a small campus with all of the people in your same program. Like our library, which we have on campus, is dedicated solely to architectural resources. Like we have only like books on architecture and like design and stuff like that. Whereas if you go to main campus, you have this massive library about everything. We have like all of our resources are catered towards architecture students. Like this campus is built for architecture. Like it was renovated and redesigned specifically to meet our needs. So that is like a nice part about this program, is that you're together in a place that's literally built for you. I haven't used like the 3D printers yet, but I've used like the wood shop. I love woodworking, as demonstrated by this. So I've used the wood shop like 2 or 3 times now, and I've laser cut like the pieces for my model and stuff. Like it's really nice facilities. Like I went from like in high school having this kind of crappy little wood shop to like now I have access to like all of these different tools. Like we have routers, planers, table saws, band saws, everything. There's 3 separate laser cutters. It's awesome to have like such good access to all of this equipment. Something I want to share is to start your portfolio early. Go to Port Prep and start working on your portfolio after Port Prep and not after the Christmas break, because it will make life a lot easier.